As we told you at the top of the newscast, it was a tragic weekend for the families of two young football players with Georgia ties. Pike County High School's Dylan Thomas died after undergoing emergency brain surgery, and Westlake High standout and Tennessee State player Christian Abercrombie remains in critical condition after suffering a head injury during the Tennessee State Vanderbilt game. Both of these stories have left many parents with concerns and questions tonight.
Yeah, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has come out with recommendations for how to handle mild traumatic brain injury in children. The Fox Medical Team's Beth Galvin is here with more on that. Beth?
Head injuries are more common in children than you might think, and each year more than 800,000 kids are treated for a traumatic brain injury in U.S. emergency departments, and that is exactly what happened to Thomas Cooksey of Gwinnett County 2 years ago.
Standing on the field at Greater Atlanta Christian School with his mom, trainer, and concussion specialist, senior Thomas Cooksey remembers very little about the hit that sidelined him out here 2 years ago during football practice.
Just kind of got blindsided and hit the ground, and it was just pretty much a blur after that. I got up and, I just didn't feel right.
Chad Dibdahl, GAC's head athletic trainer, pulled Thomas out of practice. That's something he does, even when players suspected of having a head injury insist that they're fine, which has happened over 20 years.
Many times, yes.
Is that tough?
It's very tough. You know your athletes, they're competitors, they want to be back out in the field for the teammates, but it's no laughing matter. You got to make sure that they are okay.
To make sure that Thomas's brain was okay, he was sent to see Dr. Adam Shunk, a clinical neuropsychologist at the Concussion Institute at Gwinnett Medical Center.
One of the challenges with concussion is every patient's different, every injury's different.
Thomas took a week off from school and several weeks off from football. And under the old guidelines, if a player was hit out here, doctors would recommend extended rest, not just from the game, but from everything. Now, Shunk says the science is increasingly showing too much rest can prolong and complicate the brain's healing. So the CDC is tweaking its concussion guidelines.
So the new gold standard is after a couple days of resting, then you want to gradually transition back to normal activities, and that actually can help the brain heal and promote recovery.
Putting a kid in a dark room for days without contact, that's not good for him either.
Cindy Cooksey knows because all three of her sons play football, and so did her husband Tom. Both Thomas and his brother Tyler, who now plays for Georgia Tech, have suffered head injuries. Tyler's even more serious than Thomas's.
To see your son and two other players lying out on the field, immobilized, that's very scary.
But Cindy Cooksey is convinced her son Thomas is in good hands with people who will take his brain health as seriously as she does.
Really, the only way that this mom can feel confident that my sons are, safe out here.
And the CDC guidelines were created by a panel of experts who really looked at the last 25 years of concussion research. And you can read more about them on fox5atlanta.com. Just look for the link in the health tab. And Thomas Cooksey's father, Tom Cooksey, you might have seen him there with the Georgia Tech jersey. He also played for Georgia Tech years ago. While he was a young player, suffered several concussions, and his family says, that's caused some complications recently. So Thomas says his playing days will end with high school. He doesn't want to play college ball. He says he'll cheer on his brother instead because the risks really aren't worth it. The CDC really saying, this is a treatment plan for providers, but they really need to watch out for these kids and look at their age, look at their risk factors, look at a lot of things going into assessing them and figuring out the right treatment plan for that individual child.
Yeah, only get one brain, got to take care of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so much we're starting to learn now about
Absolutely.
these concussions.
Yeah.
Thanks, Beth.
Thanks.